Hey guys, welcome to my channel Coding Shinobi, and today in this video we're going to see interview questions related to object-oriented programming concepts in Java. Object-oriented programming is really very important when it comes to coding because it increases maintainability, it increases code readability, scalability, and other things. And as part of interview perspective as well as the coding perspective, it is very important that you know these concepts. And we are going to cover mostly asked interview questions related to OOPS. And let's get started.
So guys, let's start with the basic question. What is the need for OOPS? It helps user to understand software easily although they don't know the actual implementation. Readability, maintainability and understandability is increased. Huge software applications can be written easily with the help of OOPS. Helps map real world use cases to software system. So what does this 4 points in basic terms or basic words mean? If you opt for a procedural programming language like C, you have to write your code in one file, right? And it becomes very difficult to maintain that code when your application is very huge. Your application or software code can go up to thousands of lines, maybe millions of lines. I don't know. Like depends upon your use cases and whatever features you are trying to provide. That's not the point. But it if you want to maintain such huge amount of code, you need to divide it into parts, right? So oops basically helps you to map real world problems into software system. Now the second most basic yet very important question that has been asked in many interviews. So the main pillars or the four main concepts to remember are encapsulation, inheritance, abstraction and polymorphism. Now you can come up with a follow-up question like explain these features into brief or with a real life example. So this is how you should answer it. Encapsulation provides a way to store, hide, manipulate data while giving you increased control over it. Class is a blueprint of creating an object with certain properties and behaviors. For example, you are creating a class person. Whatever properties a person can have or behavior a person can have, you can encapsulate it in the form of class. Whatever you want to expose to the real world or hide from the real world, you can decide it in your class using access modifiers, access specifiers, which will help you protect the data. Encapsulation can be used to protect certain information from being modified or having new errors, like as I've told you now. When you store and log the information in bundle, it is much more difficult to accidentally modify the information. Now, this is how encapsulation will look like. Like you are trying to create a new person class with properties like name, age, and date of birth. So here you can have your data members. I have declared it as private. Private is nothing but an access specifier or access modifier, like who all can access this property of person. Private means only this class will can access the properties. Properties can be accessed only within the class. Now you can have a control over who can access your properties from the outside world using getters and setters. Like I have this get name as a public, so whoever has object of this class can easily get name. Also it can set name, it can modify the name. Same you can do for date of birth, but while getting the age, I'm not allowing other people to set it. My getter is public but my setter is not. Whenever my get age method is called, I can calculate it using date of birth, which I already have as a parameter here, already have as an attribute here, and that way I can return age. This is how you can achieve encapsulation using OOPS or in Java. The second concept is abstraction. Only essential details or functionality is shown to the user. User might know the application at high level but unaware of the implementation details. You can achieve abstraction by using abstract classes or interfaces. So if you have some coding experiences or background, if you have some kind of experience in coding in software industries, you might know there is a lots of usage of interfaces, right? That interfaces is nothing but used to achieve abstraction. Like you can just declare your method names, whatever behavior that particular class is going to have, but user should not know, or might, it doesn't make any difference if user does not know the internal implementation of it. If you want to put it in a real life example, you can just consider man is driving a car, but it knows about brake, accelerator, but it does not need to know how they're internally implemented. So you know what a software application can do, what a particular application can do, but you needn't need to know what is internally happening behind it, behind it, right? um, Also, you can see, if you are using Facebook, you know, the main features of Facebook are like creating a post, seeing the list of posts, you can message a friend, you can send emojis, etc, etc. Those are the features that you know, but you don't know how they are internally implemented. So this is called abstraction. Now, abstraction can be achieved using abstract classes as well as interfaces. We are going to see an example using abstract class. I have one abstract class animal which has got a name or and a constructor which will be used to set its name, and one abstract method make sound and one concrete method get name. What this cat does is it is extending animal, but whenever the cat extends animal, it is compulsory to override the method in it or give the implementation of uh, the abstract methods in the concrete or the implementing class. So here we know that cat meows, right? It meows. So here cat is meowing, and we also have a dog class which will bark, right? So whenever we are trying to create an object, so I know dog is a type of animal, cat is also a type of animal. I have created an object using animal as in type, and my dog's name is Luffy and my cat's name is Money. And when I make dog dot make sound and cat dot make sound, it should invoke the respective methods of the respective implementations. You'll see Luffy barks and Money meows. Now the third feature is inheritance. One class can inherit the features, properties and behaviors of another class. Creating new classes based on existing ones, that is one of the advantage you can have using inheritance. A class that inherits from another class. Advantages is, of course, you can reuse the code again. You can override your method with your own implementation. You can also achieve abstraction, as we have already seen in the abstraction wala thing also, abstraction wala example also. Okay, like in inheritance, you have a parent, you have a child. I have one attribute in parent. I I have two attributes in parent. One is of type int and another is type string. Now I also have a child class which is extending parent, means it will have properties of parent which are public and protected. If you know about the access modifiers and what are the types of access modifiers, you might know like who all can access the properties of parent class. So when I am overriding get attribute method, I can return attribute from the parent class itself. Child class can have its own attribute which is not accessible by parent class, right? Use super keyword as well to access the methods of parent class. And in inheritance, you can tell the real world example as like when a son is inheriting from his father, he doesn't need to set up his own entire career, right? If he's following his parents path, then he already have something to inherit from his parents as well, right? And he will have his own properties or own talents of his own as well. So this is one kind of lame, I know, but one of the real world application real world example you can tell to the interviewer. The fourth and last concept is polymorphism. Poly means many, morphism means many. So having many forms. This is the meaning of polymorphism. It allows you to perform a single action in a different ways. Define one interface and it can have multiple implementations. Like we have seen in abstraction, that way also it is nothing but polymorphism. You can have an animal class. Cat is a type of animal, but it makes sound in a different way. Dog is a type of animal, but it makes sound in a different way. Like dog barks. One thing can have multiple implementations, that is known as polymorphism. And you can achieve polymorphism in OOPS using um, method overloading and method overriding. Method overloading is nothing but compile time polymorphism, and method overriding is nothing but runtime polymorphism. So, a real world example can be a person can have different characteristics. A man can be a father, son, employee, and husband. And if there is a girl here who is listening to this video, a person can have different characters. A woman can be a mother, a daughter, an employee, and wife. Women has many roles. Okay. Now, next question is, as we have discussed the access modifiers, this can be the question that interviewer might ask you: what are access specifiers and what is their significance? Access specifiers is a special type of keywords which are used to control or specify the accessibility of entities like classes and methods. As we have seen in the person class, we were having some private attributes, right? So the keyword that you attach before declaring the variable name, that is your access specifier. Some access modifiers, also known as specifiers, include private, public, default, and protected. These are the four access modifiers in Java. Used before class as well, right guys? Class, method, and variables both. But and it has different significant with every, with class it has different meaning, with a method it has different meaning, with a variable. So in terms of variable, if you are declaring a variable private, that variable can be accessed only within the class. If it is a public, any class can access that variable by its name. And if it is default, only within package. And protected is a child class can access that variable as well. So if you want more information related to class and methods, please do refer. If you don't know it already, please do refer it on web. You can easily get the differences between these access modifiers. Not much of a big deal. Encapsulation can be achieved using access modifiers. Access modifiers play a very important role when you want to achieve encapsulation. Are there any limitations of inheritance? Yes, it is very powerful feature in OOPS, but it has limitations. Guys, you can say this inheritance is a superhero of OOPS concept, but coin has two sides, right? Inheritance needs more time to process as it navigates through multiple classes for its implementation, right? A one class can have multiple implementations, like one class can have 10 implementation, 12 implementation, 5 implementation. So whenever you are trying to create an object, it just needs to go through all the implementation, right, and need to find the dedicated implementation that we want, right? And in huge software applications, we are not only using inheritance for one class or something like that. Inheritance is widely used in software applications. So of course it is might be complex for implementation. Also, it becomes difficult when you are trying to debug your application as well. You need to know when, if you are going through the code and you are not running the application and you are not debugging it while you are running the application, the code can be very complex to understand. Even while the application is running up and running, the debugging can get difficult, but the code maintainability is easy. Also, it is very powerful feature of OOPS concept. If not correctly implemented, might lead to unexpected errors or incorrect outputs. Of course, can difficult, as we discussed, can become difficult debugging because of increased complexity. What are the various types of inheritance? Multiple, multi-level, hierarchical, and hybrid. These are the different types of inheritance. First one is single inheritance, means simply a B class is inheriting from A class. Multiple inheritance is like C is extending both A and B. It is getting properties of A as well as B. Multi-level inheritance is like A is inheriting, B is inheriting from A, C is inheriting from B. So C might be having all the properties of A and B. Hierarchical inheritance. Many classes can extend from one single class. And hybrid is mixture of all these inheritances. A, B, C, D. Like B and C are inheriting from A and D is inheriting from B and C. What is a superclass and a subclass? This is nothing but parent-child relation. Superclass is an entity which allows other classes to inherit from itself, also known as parent class. Subclass is an entity which inherits from other class, also known as child class. Child class will inherit all the public and protected properties of superclass and behavior as well. What is an interface? अब इतना रामायण हो गया and we are going for like what is an interface. Interface is nothing but a special class which contains method declarations but not definitions. Cannot create an object of interface. Of course, you cannot. What is the meaning of creating an object of interface, right? When you don't have any implementation there. Interfaces are used to achieve 100% abstraction. Abstract classes can have concrete methods, but in interface cannot have concrete methods. Although there are default and static methods introduced from Java 8, but that we will cover in another question. Implement the interface in concrete class to define the methods in interface. Of course, what are the different types of polymorphism? Explain in brief. As we have seen, polymorphism is one of the properties of OOPS concepts. There are two types of polymorphism. One is compile time polymorphism, which is also known as static, and another is runtime polymorphism, which is also known as dynamic. Compile time polymorphism can be achieved using method overloading. Method overloading happens only in one class. It can have same method name, but it might have different parameters and different method definition. Right? Runtime polymorphism is achieved using method overloading. As we have seen the animal wala example, you can see the method make sound is overridden from animal class, and also in dog class we have overridden the make sound method, and function invocation is decided at the runtime. That's why it is dynamic. In compile time polymorphism, whatever parameters you pass, it is that decides which method to call. That's why it is compile time polymorphism. So runtime polymorphism is basically achieved in inheritance, and compile time can be achieved within the same class. Now to the next question. What is the difference between overloading and overriding? As we have discussed, again we will discuss. Overloading is a compile time polymorphism feature in which same method name can have different implementations. The method name can be same. Let's see example of this as well. So as you can see, here we have add method which is 2 parameters. Here we have add method which is 3 parameters. So whenever we are trying to run this program, at the compile time it will be decided, right? We are passing 2 parameters here, so this add method will be invoked. When we are passing 3 parameters here, then this method will be invoked. This is how method overloading can be used to achieve compile time polymorphism. Now examples are method overloading and operator overloading. Operator overloading is a concept in C++. You might not get questions related to operator loading, so no worries if you are from Java background or giving interviews for Java. Overriding is a runtime polymorphism feature in which same method name but with different implementation and method invocation is decided at the runtime. Examples: method overriding. Now if you'll see, we have one parent class which has one print method which will print that it is in parent class. I have one child one which will print which is overriding this print method, which is because it is extending from parent. It is extending parent, and it is printing in child 1 class. I have a child 2 class which extends parent, and it's also over. I am creating 3 new objects: this parent of type parent, this child of type parent, and this child 2. When I call this print method using these objects, let's see what happens. It will print parent class because it is invoking parents method, child 1 because it is invoking child 1's method. P1 is object of child 1 and P2 is object of child 2, and that's why in child 2 class. So this is the difference between overloading and overriding. How abstraction is accomplished? Remember guys, we have already discussed this, how abstraction is accomplished. Abstraction can be accomplished using help of abstract methods and abstract classes, and also interfaces which contains abstract method. Abstract classes can be used to achieve abstraction from 0 to 100%, but with interfaces, how many percent of abstraction you can achieve using interfaces? It is 100%. What is an abstract class then? This is a type of class containing abstract methods. Abstract methods are only declared and not defined. The class that extends abstract should provide implementation for the abstract methods. And also you need to declare your class as abstract as well if it is going to contain abstract methods. Even if you declare it as abstract class and don't have any abstract methods, that's fine too. Is it required to have at least one abstract method in abstract class? Just now we discussed that point. What is? No. Although if even if there is any abstract method in a concrete class, it must be declared to abstract class. No. But if you have any abstract method in concrete class, the class should be declared as abstract. Okay. What is the difference between an abstract class and an interface? Now, just two questions before I actually told you the answer of this. Let's see if you remember it. Try to remember it. Types of classes that contain abstract methods is an abstract class. Interfaces contains only abstract methods. Abstract class can contain abstract methods as well as concrete methods, methods with implementation. And what is abstract method? Abstract method is nothing but only the declaration of method, no implementation is given. Interfaces cannot have state as it is completely abstract. Right. Classes implementing interfaces must define all the methods of interfaces, because every method in interface is abstract, right? And if you are extending abstract class, then the implementing class should only provide the implementation of abstract methods, because it does not have any implementation already. But you do need to define your method, otherwise you will get compilation error. Can we run a Java application without implementing OOPS concepts? Think, guys, what will be the answer? I don't think so. Nope. Java applications are based on object oriented programming models or OOPS concepts, hence they cannot be implemented without it. Even if you have to write a single print statement, you have to write it in a class. There should be a main method inside of that, and then you can write a print statement there. How much memory does a class occupy? Classes do not consume any memory. Classes are just a blueprint based on which objects are created. Objects have real time state actually, but classes does not have. They are just blueprint or your template, like how your object will look like, what all properties and behaviors your object can have. However, when objects are created, they actually initialize the class members and methods and therefore consume memory. Of course, right? Your class will be loaded whenever like a new object is created. The class does not have any meaning in terms of memory if it is not initialized. Only when you are initializing it using new keyword, then only memory will be allocated to that particular object. What is a constructor? Constructors are special methods whose name is same as class name. Serve the special purpose of initializing the object. Right? my class my class is equal to new my class. Whenever we are doing new my class, and you can see the constructor of the my class is invoked whenever you are trying to create a new object. Therefore, that's why constructors are very important while creating a new object. So guys, this was all related to object oriented programming concepts. Please do let me know if I have missed anything. This video can go an hour long video, because there are many concepts related to object oriented programming languages, and I have tried to cover the basic ones but yet important questions that you can get in an interview. Although I might not have covered everything, and if you want such videos, then do let me know.
I hope you like the video and you learn something out of it. And for more such content, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much for watching the video. All the best for your interviews.